How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Fu Show. I'm your host, Coach Ali Fusho. In today's episode, let's get straight to the point. I want to talk about what is the best gym here in the Philippines. Now, I want to be very straightforward that there are a lot of good gyms here in the Philippines. There are a lot of big chains and there are a lot of small like one standalone gyms here that are really really amazing. And in today's episode, I want to talk about which one is actually the best one for you. So, in that sense, I'm not going to pick one and say that of all the gyms here in the Philippines, this is the best one. Everyone should be going here. No, because that's hard to say, or that's hard, or more than it being hard, that's wrong for me to claim that there is the best gym for you, because everyone has, a lot of different goals, different preferences, different schedules, etc. So in today's episode, I want to talk about, or I want to give some guidance if ever you are in the market to sign up for a new gym and you're wondering which gym you should sign up for. Hopefully this episode can help you out. So yes, I guess I'm gonna say it that the title is a bit clickbaity, and that's really wrong, because if there's anyone who wants to be very objective about which is the best gym, I mean, of course we can just say, when we say best gym, are we gonna go for the one that has the biggest square area, or are we gonna go for the one that has the most number of machines, etc., or the cleanest bathroom? I mean, a clean bathroom does, matter, but of course, we want to talk about which is the best one for you, because there are some people that have this preference and other people have this preference. So let's talk about that. I will be breaking it down to a couple of different categories to help keep things a bit more objective, because again, just to name a lot of the gyms here in the Philippines that have been getting a lot of traction, let's name the chains that have been here, the gym franchise or chains that have been here for decades already. So we have, of course, Fitness First, we have Gold's Gym, and then I guess it's been a decade already, or almost a decade, we have Anytime Fitness. And of course, one of the oldest ones right there is going to be Slimmers. Slimmers First? What's it called that? Slimmers World. That's the name. And of course, we have newer gyms that are surfacing. We have the gym that I worked for before, Kinetics Lab. I'm going to try to be unbiased as much as possible as I talk about them later. And then we had different boutique gyms. When I say boutique, like standalone gyms that have their own niches, or something similar to Kinetics Lab, where they're being promoted as a premium or a luxury gym. There's a lot of gyms that are standalone like that. I'm not so sure about the name. I think the name escapes me right now because, of course, I had bias for Kinetics. But there are also other boutique gyms similar to like Gymzilla. I think they just opened this year. If you guys listened to last week's episode, I talked about how I actually visited Gymzilla because there was a deadlift competition there. Very, very good atmosphere. And then, of course, there are a lot of different kinds of or different gyms that it's hard for me to name all of them. But in this video, once again, I want to talk about how to pick the right gym for you, or what is the best gym for you, what is the perfect gym for you and your personality and your preferences. All right. Let's talk about the first factor, or the first category, or the first, I guess factor is the right word to use. The first thing that I want you guys to consider when it comes to picking a gym is really going to be down to the proximity. Basically, how near or how far or how convenient it is for you to go to this gym. You might be wondering, like, why is that the most important one? Isn't it going to be, I guess, the equipment, the coaching, etc.? I mean, I'll talk about those things later. But I believe in the past in the past 7 years of my coaching, and the past 9 years, 9 or 10 years of me being in the gym environment, or like working out for myself, I have learned, or I have really, really come to observe that proximity is really the biggest thing that's going to allow somebody to be consistent. Now, when we talk about the best gym for you, obviously it's supposed to be a gym that you can be consistent in, because no matter what branch or no matter what gym you sign up for, even though if it has a great selection of machines, biggest like area, or like the biggest gym itself, if it's in the other side of Metro Manila for you, if it's on the other side, if it's going to be an hour or over an hour of travel time for you, that might not be the smartest choice, because you're just going to be wasting time. Instead, you could pick something that's a bit nearer for you, pick a branch that's, or pick a gym that's more convenient for you, so that you can stick to the program as much as possible. Because let's say if you're going to go to the gym 4 times a week, we want to make sure that you're able to go 4 times a week as much as possible. Because if it's going to be you crossing through EDSA every single time, it's going to be another hour one way and then another hour on the way back home, you might end up in the point that you might not want to be consistent, because you realize that this is taking way too much time and too much effort for you. So that is exactly why, sorry, it's got a bit of phlegm. That is precisely why that is the first thing that I want you to consider when you're thinking about signing up for a gym. Proximity is going to be the first thing you should consider. So whether that be the proximity from your house, from your job, or from your family or relatives, or wherever you are frequent. So whether that be your house or your office, it has to be near there, because you do not want, I mean, of course, you might want to consider it, but down the line, we want to make sure that you're able to be as consistent as possible. And the biggest factor to ensure that you can be consistent with it is picking something that's not that far, or something that's actually kind of near for you. Now, let's move on to the second thing. So if proximity is the number one thing, the second thing is going to be, actually, as I talk about the rest of these categories, I want to mention that there's no sequence of importance. The only thing that I really wanted to separate from the rest would be the proximity, because that's the one that's really going to dictate everything. These are also important, but as I list them down, or as I discuss them, I want it to be known that not one is over the other. They're all equally important. And on that note, the next thing that I want you guys to consider would be the actual environment, or to use a more Gen Z term, I guess it's a Gen Z / millennial term, would be the vibe of the gym. So yeah, trying to keep up with the times, right? So when it comes to the environment of the vibe, or the vibe of the gym, that also matters quite a lot, because there are some gyms that the market of this gym would be for, I guess, the general population, or sometimes some gyms really do focus for maybe people who have, or who are more advanced in age, let's say 40, 50, 60 plus, because, and of course, these places are normally more expensive, because they're tending to the people who, I guess, have more buying power, as opposed to, I would say, teenagers who have their allowance, or students in general. So there are some gyms that have that market. And then, of course, there are some gyms that are marketing towards extreme powerlifters or diehard bodybuilders, etc. So those gyms those gyms definitely have a different vibe compared to the general population gym. Now, I guess I'll use an example. Let's talk about Gymzilla versus something like, I guess I'll use Kinetics Lab as an example. And it's nice for me to talk about it, because obviously, or sorry, not obviously, it depends if you guys have seen photos or videos of either of these gyms, you can tell that when it comes to Gymzilla specifically, because of how dark and badass and neon, I think they have neon lights, the gym is, it's definitely for some diehard powerlifters, because they have a lot of powerlifting equipment. And of course, bodybuilders can definitely go there again, or even go there. And apart from them, just general lifters who love the hardcore vibe can definitely go to a place like Gymzilla. And if we're going to talk about Kinetics Lab, you might be wondering, wait, isn't Kinetics Lab, a powerlifting gym? I mean, yes, sure. Kinetics Lab has a lot of good, actually great powerlifting equipment, because they have powerlifting specific bars, powerlifting specific plates, powerlifting specific racks. So they do have the equipment to cater to a serious powerlifter, without a doubt. But that's not the only market that Kinetics Lab, is after. They want everyone to go to their gym, or anyone who wants to live a stronger and healthier life. That is the market of Kinetics Lab. I think that's precisely why the slogan of the gym is strength in movement, or like strength is for everybody, or stronger days ahead. It's not just for meatheads. It's not just for diehard powerlifters. It's for anyone who wants to get stronger. When I was working there, zero of my clientele were diehard lifters. All of my clientele were people who just wanted to catch up with their kid, or like run with their kids, have some playtime with their kids, carry their groceries, lift the gallon of water, the classic example. So everyone that was training there wanted to get stronger. I mean, of course, they can get stronger in a squat, bench, deadlift. That doesn't mean that they're a power lifter. They can, get bigger arms and shoulders with getting stronger. That doesn't mean that they're a bodybuilder. So on that note, so I guess that's really good to compare Gymzilla and Kinetics Lab. So even though that they can cater to power, both of them can cater to powerlifting, the biggest difference is the vibe that they want their gyms to have. Gymzilla, from what I am observing, of course, I didn't talk to the marketing team or whatever. I just know the vibe of the people that go there. They're people who are really like, what's a good phrase? They're very the lack of vocabulary is definitely showing, but those are the people who are very there we go, intense. These are intense, serious lifters, people that of course not naman they grunt every single rep, they don't shout every single set, but these are people that lift the weights, that bang the weights, people who are celebrating after every set. Like example, for a top set, they're like, yeah man, good job. And that's a good environment for like powerlifters. That's why a majority of Team Equinox lifts there, because they are diehard, or they're actually really, really, really top tier powerlifters, and that vibe fits them perfectly. Now, when it comes to Kinetics Lab, that's not the same vibe that they would want. We don't want people to be shouting all the time, because of course there are other people. When I say we, it's because I work with them from time to time. When it comes to Kinetics Lab, they're the type, they're the gym that wants to cater to everyone. So we don't want any fixed group to be, or we don't want any group to be isolated. So of course, powerlifters can still go. Just make sure that you're not banging and throwing the weights, taking your shirts off. Hint, hint. If you guys knew that drama months ago, we don't want anyone to be rowdy. There we go. I think that's a good term. And rowdy is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different vibe. So in Kinetics Lab and other gyms, actually, majority of the gyms that I mentioned a while ago, we don't want any rowdy behavior. I'm not saying that Gymzilla is rowdy. It's just that these gyms really are against rowdy behavior, because they want to make sure that every other member is comfortable. Because I was coaching a 40, a 50, a 60-year-old in Kinetics Lab before, and I'm pretty sure that if there was a teenager who was throwing plates everywhere, or like really like slamming the bar, we'd tell that person off, because that's very disruptive. And again, that's why, and I know this, I'm not sure if it's a tangent or it's a good example, but I really wanted to talk about that difference, because the vibe of the gym is really going to let you know if this is a good fit for you. Because let's say if you're a power lifter, and then you're really considering between Kinetics Lab and Gymzilla. Specifically, you're considering the UP Town Center branch and Gymzilla because it's in Quezon City as well. They're a bit far from each other, but if you're in the middle of Quezon City and then equal distance, and you're considering, if you're the type who wants to be very more, what do you call this? Intense, the type who wants to be surrounded by, I guess, other top lifters, I guess Gymzilla is the way to go. But if you're the type who wants more, if there's some sessions that you just want to be not as intense, I'm using these terms as intense or rowdy, not as intense, not as negative things. They're just different. If you want something a bit more different, and if you want something that's a lot more premium, I mean, of course, I'm not saying that Gymzilla has lame equipment. They have good equipment. It's just that the atmosphere of Kinetics Lab definitely gives a more premium vibe. So if that's something that you would want, or something more premium, not as rowdy or intense or badass. I guess okay, that's the term I want. Gymzilla has a very badass vibe as opposed to or sorry, Gymzilla has a very badass powerlifting, bodybuilding side, and then Kinetics Lab, sure they're badass, but they're more in the premium that we offer good coaching. That's really what they're marketed for, and I will talk about that. I will talk about that later. So it really depends. Not one gym is inherently better than the other. Of course, one gym is bigger. Kinetics Lab is like twice the size of Gymzilla, and if you have your preferences of more badass, dark, go for Gymzilla. If you just want good variety, good luxury, good premium feel, then that's when you can go for something like Kinetics Lab. I use those two as an examples because they have that solid similarity of powerlifting equipment, bodybuilding machines, but the environment, the vibe itself are completely different. So I guess that's why I wanted to make those two as an example. And of course, like other gyms, like Anytime Fitness, Gold Gym. I want to talk about that. These bigger chains, I've been a member in all of them. Okay, so I was a member before at Gold's Gym, Fitness First, and Anytime Fitness. There's really no specific vibe per gym because almost everyone there just goes to the workout. They have a few friends they talk to, but it's not like there's a solid community. Of course, some branches have different communities, of course, but it's not like I guess Kinetics Lab. There's a really known community there. Gymzilla, there's a community that's definitely forming there. And these bigger chains, they don't have a distinct vibe from one another. So, example, if I walk into an Anytime Fitness, then the next day I walk into a Fitness for I guess let's say Anytime Fitness versus Gold's Gym. I mean, it's just another decent gym. That's the vibe that they give off. So there's no thing that really sets them apart vibe wise. I guess I can phrase it that way. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because some people just need a gym to begin with. All right, so that was a long tangent or a long discussion on the differences of vibe, but I'm sure you guys can understand that. The next one before I get lost again. First one I talked about was proximity. Next was the environment/vibe. Now this next one is something that is a big indicator of which gym is going to be the best for you. The coaching staff or the coaches that are available there. I would say again, I didn't want to be really biased for Kinetics Lab because I worked there before, but from what I know or from what has been exposed to me or what I've been exposing myself to is that I feel like Kinetics Lab is it's the gym that's known to, how can I phrase this? Kinetics Lab is the gym that's above every other boutique gym or like standalone gym that they promote themselves to really have the best coaches. Because every other gym, they're promoting that, we are 24/7. We have many branches, etc. We have this and that. We have this class, etc. But I feel like Kinetics Lab is the only one that really prioritizes or puts forward that we have good, educated, friendly coaching staff. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe that's just, I don't have any targeted ads that are talking about, like the coaching staff of this branch or of this gym chain. So if you're somebody who's after getting a good coach, then I feel like you have to go for something similar to Kinetics Lab, a boutique gym that's known for their coaching. I mean, of course, they're known for their premium equipment. They're known for their wide space or for their open spaces. Yes, but not just that. Whenever it came to the promotions, it's always or half the time or more than half the time, it's about how good the coaches are, as opposed to, let's say, Fitness First, Gold's Gym, Anytime Fitness. A new one also is Surge Fitness and Lifestyle. I think they've been opening like in the past 2 to 3 years lang. Whenever I would see ads of their gyms, it's always about the gym, not about the coaches. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you're the type of person who wants to go to a gym for the coaching, then go to a gym that's all about the coaching. And namely, the only name that I can think of is going to be Kinetics Lab. You can search, of course, for different gyms out there that promotes their coaching, but I guess it's good luck because whenever I tried searching it, actually, like good personal training in like the Philippines, gyms don't come out primarily, or like what primarily comes out would be the coaches that are freelancers, like coaches that don't work for gyms. That's based on my Google search. But yeah, if you're somebody who's really after coaching, go for a gym that's after coaching. And if you're somebody who's after classes, I guess let's put coaching and classes in the same category. If you're somebody who wants to go to a class, wants to go to the gym primarily for the group exercise classes that they have, then go to gyms that are really known to have, or that are really known for that. Because I'm not putting them down. So again, all of the gyms that I've mentioned so far are known, all of the gyms that I mentioned so far have group classes. So Kinetics Lab, Anytime Fitness, Gold's Gym, or even UFC, Surge Fitness, Slimmers, Fitness First, all of them have group classes, but none of them are known for their group classes. A gym that has been, alive for 3 or 4 years right now, I think we mentioned it in the podcast with the episode of featuring Kyla Gankaiko, would be TMS, the Movement Studio. They're a gym that's known for their group classes because that's what the gym is. It's a group class area. There are treadmills, there are dumbbells, there's a lot of things. And it's primarily going to be, or it's for the coaching, it's for the classes. If you're somebody who wants to, or who only wants to go to a gym because of the classes, I think it's best to go to a gym known for the classes. It's simple as that. I mean, of course, you can always go sign up for a gym that has, gym equipment, machines, etc. And then at the side of the gym, they have a group class area. I mean, yes, you can do that. But I would say that the specialization that I've seen, or the specialization that I've seen from the likes of the Movement Studio, because I personally know some of the coaches there, they're pretty solid, as opposed to some of the group classes and some of these commercial gyms that I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just that it's not, I would say, as good. That's just me generalizing. I don't know all of the group classes that exist, but I'm just saying that, in my honest opinion, the likes of the Movement Studio are really, really good for people who want those classes. And I'm pretty sure you can find other gyms that are similar to that. It's just that I think the Movement Studio and what's another one? Bear Fitness, something like that. But anyway, for me to only remember the Movement Studio, I guess that's testament enough that they're really known for that. So if you want classes, go to a gym that's known for the classes and not just a gym that has, an optional class to attend to. All right. Next thing would be, I think this one I can talk about quickly, would be scheduling, or like how the operational hours of the gym. There are only a few gyms here in the Philippines that are 24/7. There's Anytime Fitness, obviously, it's in the name. There's Surge Fitness, and there's another one. The branding is red. I'm just forgetting it right now. But if you're somebody who really needs the 24/7 accessibility, then go for these gyms. Obviously, I'm going to say straightforward that say what's a gym? Okay, Fitness First. I think they open at 7 a.m. There are some people that need to work out at 5 or 6 a.m. So I guess if you're that type of people, you'll have to cross out Fitness First from that list. That's as straightforward as that. If you're somebody who works out at midnight because of your shift at work or whatever, then of course you can only consider these type of gyms that are open 24/7. And of course, just pick the one that's nearest to you. Going back to our first point of proximity. All right, now this is the last category, the last factor that you guys will obviously be considering, and it's the one that a lot of people consider first before proximity, would be the price. Working out depending on what format you use, or like what approach you use, can be really, really expensive or can be really affordable. I would say that the most affordable option would be, I guess, from what I know, of course, you can go to a Bacal gym, a local gym. When I say Bacal gym, these are gyms that are just, they're not chains. And of course, if you're a Filipino, you know what a Bacal gym is. If price is going to be the first thing that you have to consider, example, if you're tight on your budget right now because you have other responsibilities, that's perfectly fine. Then you can just go for the nearest Bacal gym as long as it's, hygienic and that it fits your schedule, it fits your goals, etc. Then you can go for that. But if you're somebody who, of course, if you're somebody who wants to go for the classes, if you're somebody who wants to go for the personal training, then you'll have to automatically accept, or you're forced to accept that it is going to be a bit more expensive, because you're not just paying for gym use, you're paying for the time, the expertise of the group class instructor or the personal trainer that you'll be hiring. So that's kind of a no-brainer. Like, it's something that all people really accept right away. It's just that that's something that you will play a factor. Now, of course, there will be a time in your life that maybe if you're a beginner and you want to really set yourself in the proper footing, the proper foundation, what you can do is to really invest in a few sessions with a good coach in whatever gym. Example, if you develop a good relationship with this coach, and you're able to learn from this coach, then that's going to be a good option. And then if ever in the future, once you're a bit more confident in yourself, that you don't need a coach, that you don't need to keep on spending for this coach's time and expertise, then you can just go for the cheaper option or the more affordable option of just going to the gym and not paying for a trainer. So that's basically it when it comes to scheduling and price. These are the easiest things to talk about. The two things that I really wanted, or the two things that I wanted to talk about would be the proximity and the vibe of the gym. Because everything else is kind of black or white, like the coaches, if you want a good coach or a good class, scheduling, if it fits your schedule, and the price is, of course, dependent on your budget as of now. And of course, there's no obvious answer at the end of this when we're talking about which one is the best gym, because there's no best gym. All of the gyms, as long as they're clean and the coaches or the staff aren't, jerks, all gyms are good. All gyms can definitely help you achieve your goals. It's really going to be up to you on how consistent you will be. It's up to you on how hardworking you'll be. And at the end of the day, because, a barbell is a barbell no matter where you go. Sure, there are different ones, more expensive ones, etc. But nonetheless, you are not going to get any results until you put the work in. So the gym or the brand of the gym that you're in doesn't matter as much as how hard or how much effort you're willing to put. That's very straightforward. But again, talk about it. Let's talk about it again. Talk about your proximity. We're going to consider the proximity, the environment or the vibe of the gym, the coaching staff or the class setup of that gym, the scheduling, and finally the price. 5 factors to consider when it comes to deciding which gym is going to be the best one for you. All right, that's about it for episode 18. Hope you guys learned a thing or two. If you have a friend that is considering to sign up for a gym and they're really confused on where to go, then I hope that you can send this video to them. I was hoping that this episode would be 15 minutes. But of course, I tend to talk about things deeper than I should have. But of course, that's why I love the podcast format. I don't have to be rushed with time because, of course, that's podcast. They vary from 5 minutes all the way to 2 hours. So hopefully you guys were able to enjoy this episode and learn from it. Please share it to any friend that you might think will benefit from this. I'll see you guys next week at episode 19.